in Ginger, something like that. There were ugly scenes, and as a result, candidate Kyagulanyi felt it was imperative to meet with the commission to air out several grievances. Now, the bulk of the issues that he raised with his team concerned the manner the campaigns, the challenges they are meeting in carrying out the campaigns across the country. This follows an earlier communication he made to the commission, pointing out the various issues. Basically, their concern or their complaint, their basic complaint is that they are being frustrated or obstructed or harassed by police or security agencies as they go out to carry out campaigns in various parts of the country. They have complained of being blocked from accessing campaign venues. They have complained of being denied opportunity to get to radio stations and talk to the people in that area or in that district. They have they have complained of constant being tear gassed all the time. They have complained of constant harassment by security agencies. Candidate Kyagulanyi even expressed fear for his life following what has happened yesterday. So they wanted assurances from the commission that, one, we are still in charge of the process, of the electoral process, and secondly, that they can continue carrying out their campaigns. In fact, he said he's going to continue carrying out his campaigns now that he has aired his grievances or complaints to the commission. So in the main, that's what was aired. But we also emphasized, on our part, we emphasized the Electoral Commission, given the track record we have had from the time we launched the roadmap in 2018 and carried out a series of activities which were countrywide, which have led us to this level of campaigns, which is one of the last phases before we go to polling. Actually, it's the last phase. Campaigns is the last phase to polling. The next activity that involves everyone in the country is polling or voting, which will take place on 14th of January. So we pointed out and emphasized that the Electoral Commission has successfully carried out all these series of activities without any semblance of interference from anybody. And it has enabled everyone, the stakeholders, the candidates, all to be part and parcel of this process. And therefore, it would be erroneous for one to say, therefore, that the Commission has lost track. The Commission is no longer in charge simply because of these unfortunate episodes that are happening during the campaigns. Mind you, in a campaign, there are several players. Unlike the other activities where the Commission is the key player, the key lead actor, if I may call that, the key lead actor. In campaigns, the lead players are different. You have the candidates, you have the supporters, and you also have security. But the bottom, the baseline is that we issued guidelines. We expect all candidates to be compliant, to abide by those guidelines, to ensure that the process of campaigns goes on smoothly in a tranquil, peaceful atmosphere and without much disruption and so on. Now, we also emphasize the fact that we are in a COVID environment. Whether we like it or not, We still have COVID in our midst. And it is incumbent upon all of us to ensure that we observe the Ministry of Health guidelines and SOPs that were put in place in order to prevent the spread of the virus from one individual to another, including the candidates and ourselves. So these are the issues that we were discussed in the main. Way forward, one, in view of the fact that the bulk of the issues or the grievances that were raised by candidate Kyagulanyi and his team pertained on the operations of security agencies in this process of campaigns, we informed them that this is a matter the Commission will have to take up with the relevant agencies and have a thorough discussion so as to arrive at way forward or new modalities of addressing the challenges that have been faced. Now, in our discussion with the police officers, the senior police officers, whom I've just been having a meeting with, we have agreed, and we had promised candidate Kyagulanyi, that there is a need for us to organize a meeting between the candidate, but also other candidates as well, other presidential candidates, because these complaints are coming from various candidates. The degree might be different, but in the main, other candidates are also complaining of disruption of their campaign schedules. So we have agreed that the Commission arranges a meeting between the presidential candidates and the top police leadership, the top leadership of the Uganda Police Force. We must have a meeting in order to interrogate all these issues and arrive at a way forward that best suits the purposes of all of us who are participating in this process. And most importantly, assures the people of Uganda that these elections are about peace. They are about us maintaining our level of sanity, peace, civility, and working towards stability. And that we should avoid any scenario or any situation that jeopardizes the quest, the desire for us to have a peaceful election. So in that case, therefore, the task is for the Commission now to make sure that we move ahead and organize this meeting. And secondly, one of the things also pointed out, the presidential candidates are required to sign a memorandum of understanding. Memorandum of understanding. They are supposed to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Electoral Commission, committing themselves to abide by the guidelines and other measures that we have put in place. So this one is also going to be processed as quickly as possible, so that the candidates commit themselves to complying and abiding by the measures that the Commission has put in place. We have also committed to ensuring that the heightened environment, the inflamed environment that now has come about because of these episodes is mitigated. And one of those ways is for both parties to take responsibility, because we have emphasized that if we are going to have a peaceful, tranquil process, each one of us has a role to play. Each one of us has a responsibility in that quest, in that enterprise, in that desire. You cannot say that the Commission primarily is the sole operator in ensuring that we have a peaceful election. If the candidates abide by the guidelines, together with their supporters or voters, therefore I do not see why security will have to come in with a strong hand in order to enforce these guidelines when the people are compliant. The issue is when the people choose not to be compliant, and law enforcement is compelled to come in and ensure that compliance takes place. So in the main, that's what we have agreed. But candidate Kyagulanyi has also informed me he's continuing with his campaigns. I think he told me he's heading to Namutumba this afternoon, which I think is the right thing to do. He's still our candidate. And instead we get concerned when our candidate says, this is what is happening to me, and this is what is, and I intend to postpone or cancel my campaigns. The other thing that, of course, they raised, they felt that maybe the commission has not been coming out to address these issues. But I pointed out certain incidences or incidents where the commission came out to address the issues. Some of them may not be reported in the media. For instance, I reminded them that when they were going to launch the manifesto in Mbarara, they had issues. And the Secretary General called me, and we sorted out that issue, and the manifesto was successfully launched. Some of the things don't come in the paper, in the press. Maybe I need to do that every time I say, this is what I've done in reaction to this, probably. But we shall look into those issues. So I think the important thing is that we need to build bridges of trust and respectability and avoid bad-mouthing one another and so on and so forth. That's all. Any questions? Yes.
So as usual, we'll do a round of 5 questions. I think there will be enough for us.
Yeah.
Because we need to. Yeah.
Yes.
We already have 5 hands.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
My name is Vincent Sirika, working with Radio 1. The first question is about this MOU you're yet to sign with these candidates. How different is it from the oath they signed during their nomination? Because by them signing the oath, it meant that you had put the terms therein which you would have to refer in case of this procedure maybe had been breached. What's different with this one from this MOU? Secondly, you're saying that they are going to meet the police top leadership. The question is, you as the Electoral Commission are entitled to see that the candidates and the entire electoral process you presided over as an independent commission. But the candidates going to the police, and now that they have to agree maybe their own way, doesn't that mean that you failed on your part to direct the authorities, that's police in that regard, on how the extent of engagement and that? Finally, what's your observation as the chairperson of this electoral process? If every opposition presidential candidate is complaining of manhandlings and breaches in the entire terms, do you feel that you can still pronounce yourself on it as a free and just fair election process?
Yeah.
Just a minute. Just a minute. Thank you.
Chair Derek Wandera is my name from the Daily Monitor. I have 2 questions. One, it's really trying to emphasize the question that was raised by Vincent. You've seen that this is not the first time EC is privately meeting presidential candidates or meeting them at a poll. And most of the issues that have been raised always come with high-handedness, brutality, and arrests. And they seem to have continued. At this point, we're wondering, is EC really in charge of this election? If it is, to what extent is it? Question 2,
Just a minute. Yes.
I have reliable information that you have changed the security detail of Honorable Chakulai. I would like to know circumstances under which you have changed the security details and why.
Yeah. That was Cliff, I think. Cliff. And then Ziwa. Okay.
Also here.
Just a minute. Yes.
Yes, Chair. My name is Joseph Omala. I work with NTV Uganda.
NTV Uganda.
Yes. The things I've mentioned, I didn't say anything maybe from you whether you're planning to change your electoral map. Because like what has happened today, the Honorable Chaulani, first holding his campaigns are coming here, it's already missing one of districts. I stand to be corrected, but I think there are now around 22 districts has missed. And you are saying you are going to set up a meeting with the different person parties, and there are like 5 weeks left for the elections, 5-6 weeks left. So with the electoral map rolling and not and you are planning all this, I hope you have all that in mind. And then second, some experts were suggesting that maybe as issue should go back to the scientific campaign I talked about, which via the media platforms, rather than the small groups which are seeking to be a problem and can't be controlled. But the challenge there would be, and I didn't hear it in your speech, you giving commitment to some of the reasons, like being denied access to some of the country radio stations. We have seen this happen. I've happened to go on the trail in more than one district. So I didn't hear anything concerning you and UCC and the chance to go to some of these radio stations. Then also the issue of the military. You talked about police. I don't know if police has command over the UPDF. Because of recent, ever since Israelis, we have seen few police officers, the FFUs, and more of the military. Tear gas has been a little reduced and more of bullets, lead bullets and rubber bullets. So I don't know if you also plan to bring the UPDF on board or the CDF to also address this challenge. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. My name is Ali from NTV. Just rejoin the first one with Cliff. Because you said you're meeting the top leadership of the police, but again, much of the issues has been with the military from Honorable Chablani. And then the other issue about that's come to your attention was yesterday for the first time we saw the president after 7 talking to us where for the today. Many people not wearing masks. And don't you think this is a double standard from the Electoral Commission and the security forces? Because in many places, Honorable Chablani, having such a meeting would result in tear gas and live bullets. Here we have another candidate who is contesting with the others, but again, no mask, no SOPs, nothing is done. The Electoral Commission is silent. What are you going to do about that? And then my last issue is about the posters there that were pinned just right next to the Electoral Commission entrance. We can see CCTV cameras. This place is guarded 24/7. How could that happen when one candidate is actually maliced in such a way and the Electoral Commission keeps silent on such an issue? Were you guys not aware of what happened? Did you see what happened? And what's the way forward? Thank you very much.
CBS. Then I think we'll finish with this too.
Yeah, can I first clear this?
Oh, okay. So
Because people have asked about 3 or 4 questions that ago. As usual, I prefer to start with the last question. Now, on the masks, not masks. On the posters, the issue of the posters was first raised to me in that group. I was not aware. I must confess. Yeah, but why not? I mean, let's be serious. You expect the chairman to go over the wall and see his posters? Oh, I'm going to watch it. No, please. Come on, give me a break. No, but even look, I even asked my people inside the room, are those posters on our premises, on the premise walls, the walls of our premises? I was told, thank you very much, you have answered the question. I was told, no, someone rushed out, I think, to check. So they are on the premises of Ministry of Works.
This one here also.
This one?
Minister of Works.
That one is not ours. This is our wall fence, this one. This is our warfare. This one here? Were they there? I never saw. But the bottom, the point is we are making, ladies and gentlemen, one, I think this commission is not comprised of people who cannot see through some of these illegalities and let them pass. There is no way we could have seen those posters and left them there. We don't know who put them there. They were not put there with the consent or express permission of the commission. And we have said, if I told my people, please, if they are there, can you remove them? Because we don't want to be party to whatever politicking is taking place. Ours is the role of a neutral umpire, and we do not condone anything that appears to attack the credibility or the character or personality of any particular candidate. We are not part of that. In all our work, you have seen we have been very impartial, we have been inclusive, and we have engaged every stakeholder at every level of the way. We treat all our candidates on equal basis, on equal footing. There is no way my commission can condone what was there. If it was there visible, the people who put there might have put there without our notice. But if we notice, now that we have realized that we have been told they are there, we have already said they should be. I don't know, they are still there. Are they still there? That is sorted. Now, on the issue of President Museveni also being tempted yesterday, no, candidate Museveni, not president, candidate Museveni. Let me clear that. Is it a problem that gentleman confused because he's putting on the jacket of a president at the same time the jacket of a candidate? So really, when you refer to him like this or like that, it's not in any way meant to give him and you and but we have said these guidelines apply across the board. Whoever is a nominated candidate by this commission is required to observe the guidelines and the standard operating procedures. And we have said, even though the candidate him or herself might be compliant, but his mobilizers or agents do not comply. Again, we ask the candidate to make sure your people comply with these guidelines. The guidelines are not issued in a discriminatory manner. They are not meant to be observed by others and flouted by other people. So if candidate Museveni was observed also flouting those measures or guidelines, we shall call him to order and ask him to comply with those guidelines. We are going to make sure that happens for every candidate. Now, on the issue of the military, I think your question on the military is also connected to my brother who asked the same question. Issue of NTV. Changing the roadmap. That is in order to accommodate those who might have missed out on their campaign program to go to certain areas. As I've been telling the country time and again, the timelines in the roadmap are determined by Article 61 Clause 4, which has already given us the deadline within which we cannot go beyond, we cannot exceed to hold these elections. And that's why the first 30 days of the remaining 122 days fall or begin from around 12th January up to, you can count yourself. And that's why, and remember, we are not only carrying out presidential and parliamentary elections which are taking place on 14th January. We also have local government elections, chairpersons, sub-county chairpersons, city mayors and so on, so division mayors and so forth. And we have about 5 or 6 election dates or polling dates within those 30 days. So therefore, unfortunately, and it was raised in the meeting with candidate Gabriel, that now that our candidate has missed out in some of these areas, can you give him more time? He said, no, it's not me, the commission. I wish I had the time. I would give the presidential candidate 3 or 4 months traverse the country. But that could not happen. Why? Because the time was stolen, if I may use the word. The time was lost during the COVID lockdown, which affected the entire country. So it's regrettable that the Electoral Commission has not have extra or additional time to give the candidates and extend their campaign programs. So they have to utilize the remaining period and do whatever they can to ensure that they complete or carry out their campaigns. Now, experts saying that we abandoned scientific elections. Well, if you can convince means of health that COVID is no longer a threat, is no longer a danger, and means of health comes up to say, Electoral Commission, we are now allowing people to gather in as many numbers as they want. The Electoral Commission tomorrow. Yes.
The experts are saying you should stick to the scientific, which is virtual. He says what you rolled out of the small groups, but the small groups are failing. So going back to the virtual, which is mainly media.
Yeah, but you. Thank you very much. You said your name is who? John. Even that one, you remember, the commission to allow these small meetings arose out of the interaction we had with several stakeholders, particularly the political parties, NGOs, aspirants, who said instead of confining us to media or virtual campaigns, why can't we have regulated meetings, small meetings? The proposal came from them first. Actually, they made a very strong case about that one. I remember General Mugisha Muntu strongly argued in favor of those campaign meetings, okay? Small regulated campaign meetings. So over time, even in Parliament, I think when we went to Parliament, they also raised a similar proposal. So the Commission therefore adopted that as a workable proposal, more so when the government said, now in the places of worship, we can begin to have attendance of 70 worshippers. So you remember in our initial release, we had said these campaign meetings we should not exceed 70 people. But immediately or shortly before the commencement of the campaign period on 9th November, Minister of Health came up and revised the number to 200. And the Commission also said, fine, let the candidates address meetings of 200 participants. But you see, I do not see why this should be a problem. To me, the greatest challenge that we have is deliberate lack of discipline on the part of some of the candidates who do not want to comply with any of these guidelines. And I think you had some of them outrightly saying, we are not going to follow what Yawakama is saying. Forget about Yawakama's and Electoral Commission guidelines. We are going to do what we want. Even you remember on the day of nomination, when we said a candidate is not permitted to come with more than 10 people at the nomination venue, you know what some of the aspirants say? No, we are going to come in the thousands. Forget. Under what law are they telling us to come with 10 people? So, lack of discipline, lack of willingness to recognize that there is this pandemic and that the responsibility to prevent this spread starts with me and with you at individual level. If all of us did this, I do not see why having a meeting of 200 people would be a challenge, in addition to having campaigns on media platforms or through radios and so on and so forth. So to me, I think the issue of the experts saying that we confine people to meetings or to campaigns using virtual means would therefore be a disservice to the candidates who strongly argued for meetings of regulated numbers of people. If only they could be willing to be compliant, as some people are, that would address these problems. Wouldn't be having some of these issues that we see now in our midst of law enforcement having to come in to ensure that candidate X complies with the guidelines. Now, about radios, UCC, this matter came up in the meetings. in the meeting we had with candidate Kyagulanyi. Now, becomes difficult for the commission to issue a statement when the commission does not control these radios. Secondly, the only media house or houses or services where the commission has a whip are state-owned media houses, where the law is very clear that state-owned media houses or enterprises shall afford each candidate an opportunity, equal access to these. But the private sector, private radio media owned, privately owned media enterprises, I think that one, as we said right from the beginning, we can only engage with UCC, we can only engage with the NAB, National Association of Broadcasters, to ensure that these radios which are errant, if a candidate has already paid to be on air, why should you deny him the opportunity? But some of these, why can't they even go to court? Because the moment I've paid you my money, okay, to get on your radio, and then you deny me access, then you have breached a contract which I made with you to render me a service which I paid for. So to me, I think some of these things should be addressed. If a candidate has paid for a radio and he's there in the allotted time, why do you deny him or her the opportunity to go to your radio? We must use the law to address some of these things. But as a commission, we're going to take up the matter with the NAB. I think, Paul, you note that. We must take up the matter with the NAB, National Association of Broadcasters. We have received reports from our candidates that even when they have paid for these radios, they are hauled out of these radio stations. What is the problem? Security.
Yes.
Yes. Now that's why that underscores the importance of this meeting we are talking about. One member has said, but these things you are going to talk about, you have been talking about them, every time you talk about them, then the thing happens, they see the same thing. What is new? I think what is new and what you should never give up is dialogue. You should never give up on dialogue. And secondly, you all know that even I asked police, have you ever held a meeting with these candidates? They said no. So to me, that is a very important development, that the commission has not said we are handing over this spot to the police. The commission is one which is going to organize for that meeting. It will be part of that meeting. We shall emphasize the role of the commission and the role of security and the role, the responsibility, the duty of the candidates in ensuring that whatever is going to be agreed upon is something that all of us will own. We are not throwing our candidates. Remember, they are our candidates. I emphasize. These presidential candidates, parliamentary candidates, all candidates are our candidates. If there is any issue that they have encountered in the course of advancing their candidature to the electorate, and it is brought our attention, mark you, and it is brought our attention, it is the duty of the commission to raise that matter with the entity that has been alleged to have jeopardized the candidates, the campaigns of this. That's why, in the recent past, I think you saw that letter which you wrote to the police. We wrote to the police as the lead actor in providing security, ensuring law and order is prevails or is maintained during an electoral season.
Not Chair, just to clarify, I want to get this clear.
Yes.
You have noted that these candidates can actually take the people who throw them out of radio to court. Is that right?
Yes.
Be it security or the owners of
Absolutely.
radio?
Is anybody above the law? Is the chairman of the Electoral Commission above the law? Does the law say that security agencies are above the law? They're not above the law. If my civil rights have been infringed, I reserve the right to go to the courts of law for redress. And you have seen people going to the courts of law. So I'm not saying something new, am I? It's not something new. Yes, let me first finish these questions. Now, talk about them. What are you going to do? But and we have said before even the candidates have gone to the courts of law, it is the duty of the Electoral Commission to ensure that these challenges which have been posed in the path of the candidates are addressed at the earliest opportunity. That is without prejudice to the right of a particular candidate to go to the courts of law if he or she wishes. But we are not just throwing it to them, go to the courts of law. No, we are going to raise these matters with the NAB. We are going to, and I think candidate Kyagulanyi has raised specific radios where he said he was denied opportunity to address the people. So we are going to raise these matters and investigate them. Now, on the issue of Derek, brutality and so on and so forth. Are you still in charge? Oh yes, why are you here if we are not in charge? Why did the candidate Kyagulanyi come to us if we are not in charge? We are in charge. I have said, look, yes.
Actually, he says, unless if you are not able to address these issues raising,
yes,
you should actually resign.
I've not even dreamt of resigning, by the way. The dream has not yet occurred. Maybe when I get that dream or that revelation, I will let the people know. But you see, I'm here to serve the country. I was entrusted with this office. And I think, as I've said, let people be objective, analytical. Fortunately, we have been with the press right from day one, when we launched the roadmap at Hotel Africana in 2018. You have been with us at every aspect of the roadmap that we say we are going to carry out or to perform in the country. You always come and inform the country. You have seen our success levels. Yes, there could have been one or two challenges, like there is in every facet of life. But we have delivered on all those activities, on all those undertakings that we said we are going to carry out. In spite of COVID-19, in spite of the challenge by COVID-19 when we lost valuable time, and in spite of the late constituencies that Parliament passed belatedly after we had already finished the groundwork and we had to go back, in spite of the new cities, even those ones which were supposed to have started in 2021, they were brought forward to July 2020, and we had to include them in the process of this election when they were not there previously. This commission has done tremendously well. For someone to say, when it comes to campaigns, which maybe consists about 10% of the overall activities of the electoral roadmap, therefore the commission is not in charge. Who are the key players? I have said, fortunately, many of you are analytical. Who are the key players in a campaign process? Who are they? We have set in place the guidelines. We have indicated to the candidates, this is the timelines, the period within which you have to carry out your campaigns. We have given them security vehicles, the presidential candidates. We have nominated them. We have told them, you have to follow A, B, C, D. Who are the implementers of the campaign process? Who are the footmen and women to make sure campaigns take place? The candidates and their supporters. And we are saying, take personal responsibility. The challenges that are coming up now, are they because the Electoral Commission did not organize the campaign schedule properly, did not inform the candidates what it is required to do, or not? Let's be analytical. Let's be objective. No, Yabakama has failed. What is he doing? He should get out. He should go back to it. No. Can we be very, very critical? Can we be objective? I think the commission has done everything. That is now, part of my team is not here. We are having the meeting, they were meeting Kyagulanyi on Zoom. They are in various parts of the world supervising the printing of ballot papers. And you want to say, sir and madams, the police are not there supervising the printing of ballot papers. It is the Electoral Commission. We are going to make sure they arrive in time. We have already started, for your information, we have already started the process of packing what we call the generic materials. These usual things we use, pens. We have already started. We already have our teams which are already packing. For us, we are on course. We are on course to ensure this election is conducted and held in the manner and in the time that we set. These other things, look at the players. Are they playing a role or not? Is the commission required, like a herdsman, to go with a stick and then start herding these candidates? Hey, you're talking, hey, you are not following. Hey, why you are going to? Is that what we are supposed to do? We are adults. These are people aspiring to lead this country. Don't they have a sense of responsibility within themselves? If you realize your supporters are not compliant, don't you think you as a leader, you should tell them, please, you people, even though you have gathered in large numbers to welcome me, you support me, you love me, there is COVID-19, you are supposed to observe this, and most importantly, the Electoral Commission has put in place these guidelines. I'm supposed to address a rally at such a place. But for you now, I can only say thank you very much. Let me go and address that campaign meeting where I'm supposed to go. Not a rally, a campaign meeting. You understand? We should warn our people there's this pandemic. But when you find people gathered in large numbers, and you don't even bother about cautioning them about COVID-19, and you start addressing this crowd, what do you want? What do you expect? So, in my view, the challenges that have come up to create this debate, this discussion, that is the election free and fair or not? Who are the main actors? Who are the key players in this campaign process which has brought about these unfortunate episodes? As I finish the first set of questions by saying that the police, that if every candidate comes up now, or many candidates are coming up to say they are being disrupted. That's why we have had this meeting with the police, and that's not the end of it. We have said now the next meeting is the top leadership of Uganda Police Force, ourselves and all our candidates. We want to meet with them, because at the end of the day, we are all part of this process of ensuring we have a free and fair election. A free and fair election is not solely on the shoulders of the Electoral Commission. As I've said, the Commission has done everything right from 2018 up to now. We are going to do things. There are other actors, there are other players who are also required to make a contribution, to play a role in ensuring that this process is free and fair. So to me, I can say that provided other actors play according to the rules, abide by the guidelines, observe the SOPs, and work for peace and stability, we are going to have a free and fair election. But each one of us must play a role. Even the press, you have to play a role. Yes. Because if you are going to report inflammatory things, only inflammatory things, what are you doing? You know, when the fire starts, it does not say, this gentleman is the one who started us, let us leave him alone. Isn't it? The fire does not discriminate. Violence does not discriminate. It's not discriminatory. You may start violence, you end up also being captured by this tameless tiger, if I may call it so. Now, on the issue of meeting MOU, incidentally, Radio 1, the candidates did not sign an MOU at nomination. They were signing, just an oath, but an MOU is an MOU. You remember when they came here after nomination, that's when we issued that document. No, when they came here on 16th, actually. You remember? We invited them here. After we observed the first week of campaigns, they were not observing, some of them were not observing SOPs and the guidelines. We invited them here, and we told them, one, you did not sign the memorandum of understanding at that time because of, I think, time issues. And secondly, some of the candidates did not attend in person. We gave their agents copies of that MOU. Even today we asked candidate Kyagulanyi whether he has signed the MOU. None of them has signed. At least I've not come across a copy of the MOU signed by the candidate. So we are going to pursue that one so that we make sure that they do that. So, we are not saying that when we say we meet with the police, therefore the commission has failed miserably or at all. That's not the point. We are saying since the issues the candidates are raising pertain to the operations, the methodology of work of Uganda Police Force, can we have an interaction with them so that we don't keep, this addressing the press, throwing this missile to this party, this one throws the bar, then this one answers this way. That does not address the problem. We need to address these issues, we need to address these problems, and we think having a round table discussion, because I'm sure what is most assuring is that this round table discussion is among Ugandans. We may be serving different roles, but what is of primary concern and interest, we are all Ugandans, we are all citizens of this country, and each one of us has a duty to ensure that we have peace and stability in our country. Another question? I just missed that one. Security. Now, in the meeting, the officer in charge of deployment of security to VIPs, she Afande Namutebi Hadija. Commissioner of Police Afande Hadija is the one who suggested to candidate Kyagulanyi that she was contemplating changing his security detail, which is normal. They always do that. Even for us, they always change this. But candidate Kyagulanyi expressed concern. He was uncomfortable. But the officer tried to explain as much as possible that was necessary. First of all, candidate Kyagulanyi told us the commander of his security detail was injured yesterday and is hospitalized. So in effect, or in essence, as we talk now, his security detail has no immediate commander. So I think, in my view, the suggestion by candidate, by Honorable Commissioner Namutebi was appropriate. Secondly, she felt that these people have been with him for about, is it a month or something? It's almost coming to a month. And they have been moving all over. I think if she felt that there's a need to beef up his security with fresh people who have not been running up and down so busy like this. So there's nothing very strange or very sinister about it. In my understanding, it was made in a very good faith, and it's a normal thing. They always change these security people for everybody, for every VIP. But candidate Kyagulanyi, mind you, this is the group we had just away previously. This is the group we had just away previously. After the Kiambogo fracas, when he left the nomination, when you remember what happened. And he felt these people did not do their job properly. And how could they observe or watch when I was being harassed and tormented? So they had chased them away. Actually, it took my telephone call to convince him. The following day, I called him and we discussed about what happened the previous day. Then we talked about security. He was expressing concern. They appear to be part of my tormentors, so I don't see their role. But eventually he listened and accepted them back. But now he doesn't want to let them go. He said, you get it? So this man, and you know what? He had chased them away. But we discussed the matter with him. Well, he still says, I don't want them to be changed. That's his why. That is his stand. That is his stand. But for us, look, anything to do with the security depends on the standard operating procedures. If security have to be changed at a given time, even these ones who got here, we keep changing them. I think I would ask candidate Kyagulanyi to look at this in a good measure. There's nothing sinister about it. There are no ulterior motives about it. It's just that these people might be fatigued and you want to have fresh people who can take up this role. And
Other presidential candidates, have they changed?
well, and unfortunately, Afande Namutebi is not here, but I think that's the standard procedure. Should answer that. Because now you are taking me into an area, I'm only telling you what was reported in the boardroom. The issue of other candidates was not raised. Now I'm going to trespass into other people's areas if I start talking about things I'm not conversant with. Yeah, he does. Didn't he come with them? Muruganda, basebo ne bannyabo njagala kubeebaza nga bulijjo. Okusooka njagala kubeetondera mwazze dda mubadde wano mwebale nga bulijjo ogumiikiriza n'okolera wamu n'akakiiko. Olwaleero twabadde n'olukungaana na candidate waffe mwami Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, jo nyafuna essimu kuba wa Secretary General wa NAP ng'asaba tubeere n'olukungaana nga ntegeeza nti candidate Kyagulanyi yeetaaga kusinkana kakiiko nga ayina ebimuluma alaze okwemulugunya kwe ku biki ebigenda mu maaso, bizibu byasanze oba okusoomozebwa kwasanze nga atongooza campaigns ze mu ggwanga. Candidate Kyagulanyi yalaze obutale bw'enyamivu, yalaze obwenyamivu si kyekyo, yes, obutali bumativu engeri by'okwerinda gye bamutwalamu ne bamulemesa ogenda kukola campaigns, ne baziba amakubo, ne babakuba mu tiyagaasi, ne babakuba mu masasi. Olunaku lwajjo motoka ye bagikubye emipiira amasasi. Kakati n'asooka naga nti we bituuse kati ndaba obulamu bwange buluki mu matiga. Kwe kusalawo addukire y'akakiiko k'ebyokulonda, ffe bakafulufe bannannyini abateekateekawo program eba okulonda kuno, era tumwebaza nti yeebale kuddukira mu kakiiko mu kifo ky'okugenda eyo wano n'agenda nawoli. Naye ku nsonga eziboogeddeko, naffe twamukatiriza nti agezeeko okugoberera ebiragiro bitwateekawo, okugoberera ebiragiro by'ekitongole ky'obulamu, okwekuuma ku kirwadde kya COVID, yeewale okuba campaign ng'akola rallies n'okuteekako ebivulo mu makubo. Kubanga ebifaananyi mubadde mutulaga, omwami Kyagulanyi abadde akuba abeera na processions oba ebivulo mu makubo, ate ebintu ebyo byonna twagamba nti ku mulundi guno tebiikirizibwa. Naye ku byonna nekirala kyagambye nti ebitundu bimu mu ggwanga badde bamuzibira ogenda kwogera eri abantu ku maradios, ate nga bamaze okusasula naye tebamukkiriza ogenda mu studios, oba bw'abanga atuuseeyo ne bamugjayo nga tanamaliza programu ye. Kakati mu kaweefuba oyo kafubo ke tubaddemu n'abantu be abawera nga 8 oba 9, ne tukanya nti ekisooka nti ffenna tulina okukolera wamu okulaba nti akalulu kaffe kabeera kw'emirembe ate kabeera keerufu. Nekyokubiri, bwe twamaze meeting eyo mwami Kyagulanyi ne tubeera ne meeting n'abakulu bamu, abakungu abamu kuva mu kitongole kya poliisi, ne tukanya nti way forward nga gye bujja tujja kwetaagisa okubeerawo okuteekawo olukungaana. Electoral Commission ejja kuyita meeting, olukungaana lwa bacandidates bonna, naddala abo bagamba nti programu zaabwe zitaataaganyizibwa poliisi oba poliisi tebakkiriza okuba campaign nga bwe badde balina okukola ne tukanya nti tujja kuteekawo olukungaana olwo Electoral Commission ejja kuteekawo olukungaana tuyite abacandidates bonna abonna balina okwemulugunya tuyite na poliisi abakulira ekitongole kya poliisi tulabe nti tujungulula ensonga zino zonna tufune eddagala okuzimalawo banange akalulu kaffe kaleme kubeeramu n'ebintu by'amasasi kaleme kubeeramu abantu kubiwa omusaayi kaleme kubeeramu netugenze tulaba ebiri mu mikutu gy'amawulire njagala kubeebaza mwebala nnyo mwebalire ddala ebyo ebipande bambi batugambye batuloopedde nti waliwo abatimbye ebipande ebiraga nti omwami Kyagulanyi mu Luganda bakyeta batya ng'asokota ekintu era ne bakinda kusimu negamba ebisina kye mbimanyiiko ne mbabuuza ddala webiri ne bagamba nti webiri era mbagirawo ne mbuuza bibukwenda ebifaananyi ebidala ebipande bidala ku kizimbe kyaffe kino agandi nedda biri ku kizimbe kiriraanye naye kizimbe oba kisenge wall fence ekikomera ekyo si kyaffe neffe ne tugamba nti netukakatiza nti ebipande bitutulina kitubimanyiiko nze bwe mba nga nyingira wano bannange sinoonya bipande lwaki bataddewo kyagundi oba kyanedda kise kigenderwa kyange naye tugambye nti bwe kiba nti bipande ebyo biri nga biriranye ffe wano ate nga biyinza otuwa ekifaananyi ekikyamu naffe oba ffe tubiwagira bibeerewo ebyo tetukkirizganyiza nabyo era tujja gamba abantu baffe babijjewo bireme kubeera okumpi naffe wano ekyokubongera obudde era basabye nti okusinziira ku bibaddewo mwami Kyagulanyi waliwo ebitundu byatasobola okutuuka nti olwokuba nti poliisi yamulemesa oba yamutawaanya naye ekyobudde ekyomukisa omubi naffe akakiiko kebyokulonda tetulina obuyinza okwongezayo obudde bw'okulonda kubanga obudde obwo buli mu kawaayiro 61 article 61 clause 2 ya constitution ya ssemateeka yetulagira nti okulonda kulina kubeerawo mu nnaku bwe ziti kiva mbulaba nti twataddewo olunaku lw'okulonda kwa president member of parliament ng'ennaku 14 omwezi ogw'olubereberye omwaka ogujja tetulina budde nalwo kye tusaba ba candidates mukole kyonna mufube nnyo okulaba nti campaign zammwe muzikola mu biseera bino ebisigaddeyo tetulina kyakola tusobola kwongezayo akadde kati memorandum of understanding ekyo kiwandiiko ekyo buli kandi tateekebwa okikola era mu lukungaana lutwalinabo wano ng'ennaku 16 omwezi gwe11 twabalaga nti tebasayininga ekipapula ekyo buli omu ne tukimuwa n'agamba agenda kusomamu akiteekeko mukono akitudize naye mwami Kyagulanyi olwaleero tazze nakyo n'abalala teri kandi teyakomezaawo memorandum eyo natugenda kiteekako essira tulabe nti bakiteekako mukono kubanga memorandum eyo eba egamba nti nze candidate nyewaddeyo nyeyewamye nkyagoberera bino na bino na bino guidelines zokka zitadde mu memorandum of understanding yes mbagirawo kubanga kati ekikulu nnyo tulina okusooka okumanya nti ba candidates tugenda bawa olunaku tugambe nti oba balaza oba ddi tujja kusooka tukanye n'abakulu ba poliisi tulabe olunaku lutuufu lwetulina obbawa yes kubanga kiribo kiti bw'ogenda n'obukinga radio okitegeera n'osasula sente zo ne bakuwa kadde oba ebiseera byolina okubeera mu radio naye n'otuukayo ne bagamba nti tetukukkiriza oli waddembe oba okoze endagaano bw'osasula sente zo okoze nabo endagaano oba agreement wadde temwagiteeka mu buwandiike okay so mu mateeka tukimanyi nti waliwo oral agreements oba endagaano ez'okwogera bwogezi oba ez'empapula naye nolwekyo amateeka we gali bw'obanga waliwo omuntu ataatuukirize ke mwakkirizganyiza nakyo mutwale mu mbuga z'amateeka si very simple ndi ni charge mukama wange ndi charge kubanga omanyi njagala mutegere kintu kimu okulonda tekutandise na campaigns okulonda kwa 2021 tekutandise na campaigns twakutandika okulonda kuno kwa mwaka 2021 twakutandika ngo twatongoza roadmap nga mwaka 2018 ne tulambika biki bitwali tugenda okukola era wenjogerera kati ebitundu 9 ku 10 oba 8 ku 10 tubituukiriza twagenda mu ggwanga lyonna ne tutereeza ebifo ebironderwamu ne tutereeza polling stations oba emyanya gironderwamu ne tuwandiika abalonzi abapya abayingira mu register ekituyita update ne twanjula register eyo mu bitundu byonna by'eggwanga ne tuteekako ebyokulonda kw'abavubuka abaliko bulema n'abakadde ebyo ne tusunsulamu ba candidates era ku mulundi guno njagala bategeeza nti enamba y'aba candidates abeesimbyewo yesingirayo ddala kuva okulonda kubeerawo mu ggwanga ba candidates ba president ku kifo kya president bali 11 ba member of parliament oba bali 10 meka njabafunira figures oluvannyuma local government ku mulundi guno ba candidates betulina bawerako constituencies zetulina nazo nyingi nnyo ba cities guno gwe mulundi ogusoose nti tugenda kubeera n'okulonda nga tetulina city emu yokka naye nga ziri meka oba 7 oba 10 so emirimu ekyo gyonna tugitambuziza bulungi naye kwekituuse ku campaigns abantu abalina obuvunaanyizibwa okusingira ddala kutambuza ebintu ebikwata ku campaign si kakiiko k'ebyokulonda abantu abatambuza campaigns buli lunaku be ba candidates n'abawagizi baabwe oba basupporters baabwe naawe embiriganyaawo zigiddemu awo naye si kuba nti ebijjeewo sigamba nti lwokuba nti akakiiko k'ebyokulonda kalemeddwa oba kalemererwa okuteekako enkola enduŋŋamya eraga kiki abantu kye balina kukola naye empisa z'abantu empisa zaffe ne obutakwatagana bulungi n'ebitongole by'okwerinda kyekireeseewo ebizibu bino byonna ekyo tekitegeeza nti akakiiko k'ebyokulonda kalemeddwa bwe twogerera kati bannange bali bweru yeggwanga okukuba obululu kwatandise era mu nnaku zitali zawala nnyo tujja kubanga tubaaniriza ku kisaawe Entebbe tubagambe nti obululu obusooka bwatuuse ekyo kiraga gundi commission eremeddwa okukola omulimu gwayo anga ate teri commission yeebeerangako n'okusomezebwa nga kwa covid-19 weeri teriiwo n'olwekyo nze ku lwange bagamba nti ndekulire ebintu tiba bikubyemu tooki bulungi kiva ku kyogamba nti kyeyamaanire kulira kivudde kuki eyo n'olugendo tulutambuziza bulungi ate baba ekirungi abamawulire we muli zebali babangamba nti bansindikiriza nti nve mugamba amawulire babajulizi bange mubaleete bajulizi bange we bali buli kye tubadde tugenda kukola bebadde basooka okiwulira ne tutegeeza abantu b'eggwanga mu ggwanga lyonna kyekino ebi byonna ebyogamba nti mwami byawakamale kulira ebyo wolokosa omukambwe abakuumi yes kakati bwe twabadde mu lukungaana omukyala wa poliisi akulira okola ki kudeployinga akulira okusindika ani agenda kuuma omukungu gundi yalese kirowoozo n'agamba nti sebo mwami ate yakirese mu bambi mwoyo mulungi mbadde nkusaba okkirize tukyuseemukko ku basajja bo kubanga nabo bantu beetaaga okuwumulamuko ate n'abalabu bo baafunye obuvune ng'oyo akulira ekibinja ky'abasirikale gyo yafuna obuvunye ekintu oba libadde essasi oba kiki kyamuyise wano kati ali mu ddwaliro kati ne tumugamba ofiisa n'amugamba nyandikusabye okkiriziganye naffe tukyuse kuba mwami Kyago n'agamba asaagala tokwata ku bantu bange ate jjukira nti yali abagobye webyakiyambogo byaliwo n'agamba nti bano ndaba balinganga bandyamu olukwe bano bajjawo era kyantwalira omukubira essimu ne twogera dakiika nga 2 ne mukonvinsinga nakkiriza nagandi kale kababeerewo naye kati tayagala bamuviire agala babeere nabo naye ofiisa yakirese mu ate kikolebwa bulijjo sigamba nti baagala kikola ku kandidate Kyagulanyi yekka simanyi wana balaba kandidate tukyogeddeeko mukyala namutebwa ntaliiwo naye kyemanyi ngu naffe babakyusa naye ngesikirabamu oba ensonga yonna oba waliwo kigendererwa ekikyamu nedda ekitekiri naye ye kandidate Kyagulanyi aganya agambe nze temukyusa abantu bange mubaleke mugamba bakooye bali trained nange nkooye naye nze wendi wano ngenda kati mu campaigns naye kyebyogamba nti balina stress biki bajja kukola. Yes, guidelines zino basebo ne bannyabo ebiragiro bye twafulumya naddala bikwata kwekuuma ekirwadde kya COVID-19 buli omu alina bigondera kubanga COVID tesosola yadde COVID esosola ebiragiro bye tufulumya akakiiko by'okulonda tebisosola buli muntu ayitibwa candidate alina bigoberera lero kyobawo candidate yenna oba candidate Museveni oba ani yazuuliddwa nti tagoberedde ebiragiro ebyo kyova tubakuutiriza buli kaseera buli twogera ne b'amawulire tukuutiriza ba candidates nti mugonde